Hi Talents. So today I was thinking about doing something interesting, which will be a combination of something that is done inside the Unity editor and something that is done inside the code. And the thing is that when we build code for some purpose which is not for our own enjoyment but some task at work, for example, then most of the time we need to combine our knowledge and our ability to work with different tools to create something that is needed. So this is a good example to do something that is actually quite easy and simple when thinking about the different parts that is needed, and the challenge is basically understanding what we really want to do and how to do it. So I'll show you first what I did with this game, the game I'm working on, and just pay attention to the pearls that appear on the tree. So I hope you can see it in the recording, but they are just appearing, okay, like one after the other in kind of random order, and I'll show it again. Okay, pretty nice. So let's say we want to achieve this effect, and we want to do it with, let's say, like stars appearing at night. Okay, so let's try something like that. So I'll go to project and I'll create a new scene for that. I just right click here and create a new scene. And okay, scene, and I'll just call it Starry Night. Test. Okay, so we have the Starry Night test, and we want to create like stars that appear at night. And first I'll just put the background to be black, maybe much darker, not entirely black. And we want to create a star and then put them inside. So I probably don't have a star asset yet, so 1 second, I'll be back with the star asset. Okay, so I just added here this star. I just created it in Illustrator. I just dragged it inside like this, and now I have it in my library, and I can just drag it to the stage and see a star, right? So this is great. And let's say we want it, of course, a bit smaller. And now we want to create all the animation for it to appear. So we basically need 3 animation. We want the animation for it to be non-visible. We want the animation that bring it to visibility, and we want the state of animation which is idle, okay, which is just out there. So in order to do that, we need the animation, which we have here, the animation panel. We can also open it from Windows Animation. Okay, so I have the star here. It's very basic, Sprite Renderer. And if I go here and I go and create an animation by pressing this one, okay, few things will happen. First, it will ask me how would I like to call this animation and where to put it. So I'll go to Assets and put it in Anims, a shortcut for animation, and I'll use a star and I'll call it a star. I'll just call it star off. You know what? Star off. So star off, and you know what? Let's just do another one. So this is star off, and let's do another one. So I press this one here and do create new clip, and I'll call it a star appear, and I'll just do another one and I'll call it a star idle. Now the idea is that it's much easier that they're all in this situation, and we can start from there. Okay, and let me show you what I mean. So we have here the star idle, and star idle should be very basic. And the thing that I would animate is the scale. Okay, so let's start. So I'll press here the record, and I'll just put it. You know what? Let's put 0.5, 0.5, and 0.5, and I can use this to keep the ratio. Okay, but 0.5 is very nice. And I want it to be idle. I can leave it to 1 frame, or I can create some kind of sequence, and so I can just go here and do like another one, not this one, sorry. We don't need it here actually, so I'll just delete it. But I can press this one to add keyframe. So these are the keyframe, and basically animation happens between keyframe and changes between keyframes. And we see nothing change here. We see here the scale, and we see that the scale change on X, Y, and Z, which actually doesn't change, right? So this is a good start. Now this is the idle, and we want to do the appear. Okay, so let's do the appear, and we'll do actually the same thing. So we take the star. Okay, we start by, and we know we want it to appear, so let's put it like here, and I'll start recording, and I'll put 0.5, 0.5. Okay, so we put everything by 0.5, and we see it actually did the same here. Not exactly, it started from 0.4 and went to 0.5. This is really nice, but here I want it to be much smaller, so I'll put it in, actually I can do it maybe 0, or maybe not quite small, but you know, maybe 0.05, so it's quite small. But of course we can see it, and we might want it to be totally not visible. So how would we do that? We can also control the animation by controlling the color. So because it's in recording state, I can just press the color here, and I can do different changes, but for now I just change the alpha to 0. So this basically means that it's totally not visible, and here I'll put it to 100, for 1 or 255, which makes it totally visible. So if I press now play, you can see the animation. Okay, so it's like a period. And I don't want to go too much into animation, but you can also go to curves here and better control how it happens, like making it. Okay, this is actually pretty good. This is the render color. And you know what, this is pretty good. Okay, so it does like an is in over here, so it looks pretty good, right? So it appears. Okay, that's great. So we have the animation here, and let's put the off one. So we had the idle, right? So we had the idle just the same. Okay, we'll see that from idle and appear, it looks the same. Okay, when we're in the right frame here. About the same, yeah. Let's have a look. And this appear, and this is idle. A bit smaller. I wonder why. Okay. And appear over here. Not sure. Okay, it seems a bit larger. Anyway, let's assume this is okay for now, and go for star off. So star off is just the state where we have like nothing. So we'll take the star. And you know what, let's put the scale on, I think it was 0.1, or no, we put 0.05. Okay, and let's put the alpha as 0. Okay, so here's what happened. So we created all the states, and once we add the star to the start animation, we actually, it also added the animator. Okay, so the animator has the star, the controller, which is basically this thing. You can see in the window animator, and animator is here from Windows, animation, animator. And for this we control the animation. And we're really working on very basic animation. So what we do here is we go from entry, right? So this is like this, this is like representing the start. And this is the first stage. So start off, it goes from here to start off. And for start off, we want to go to appear. We want it to make this transition. And we want to make transition to idle. So it will go from here to here to here to here. And it will basically just appear and stay on the screen. So if we run it, we can actually see it. So you see here start off, and then he does the star appear, and then the star idle. Let's try it again. Okay, it's like did the star appear twice for some reason, and here's in the star idle. Okay, and when we moved it, okay, it seemed pretty good. So the thing is, we have now the animation, but we want to control it. So how do we control it? First of all, we don't want it to go from star off to star appear immediately. We want to do it like kind of randomly, right? So how we'll do it? So first of all, we need something that will control this transformation. once it appeared, we do want it to go straight to star idle. By the way, if we want, within the kind of jump, it might be because this transition is too large. We can change it something like this, and this might work better. Let's have a look. Okay, yeah, okay, very nice. So we want something to control this transition, and the way to do it is by adding parameters. Okay, so let's add a specific parameter. There are different kind of parameter. We'll use trigger. Trigger is basically just saying, okay, this trigger happened. Now handle this in the way you should. So this trigger in this case will like okay, let's call it just show star. Okay, and for this transition, I'll just go to here and go to show star. Okay, so what happens now is when I run it, it's in stars off and it just stays there. Okay, so it doesn't pass until we going to change this. How are we going to do it? So let's start by adding a code to the star. So start here, and we want to add a script for it. So let's do a script, and we call it just star. Okay, so this script should handle every functionality that involves using the star. And let's double click it, and it will open here. And we do need the animator, okay, to be able to control it. So animator, okay, I'll just put it something like anim. Okay, no, what animator, okay, and I'll put a blank ink. And either in star, let's do it in star. I'll do animator equals get component. This is to get the component from the component of the animator. I'll just get the component of the animator, and now I can do whatever I need with the animator component through this pointer, through this animator. So I want to put the trigger, but the question is when. So I think I showed you, yeah, I showed you how to use like a key event, right? So use like input dot get key down. Okay, so this is when pressing the key. And let's use the key code the same way we did last time, so space. And what we do with space, we can do animator, and we have few functions here. You know, set bool and set float or set integer. These are like other types of parameters, and we also have here set trigger. Now this is not, you can do either by ID here, by int. I don't know if you can see it really small. Or you can put the string with the name of the trigger. Now the thing is, it is better for other reasons to use the ID, but I'm not going to get into it. For now, we just use the name. So the name is, if you remember, is just show star. Okay, so this is ready. Now let's see if it works. Okay, so we'll go back to Unity. Okay, and we run it. So we're here in star off, it's just waiting out there. And now if I press the spacebar, okay, I activated the event, the trigger, and it goes to star appear, and now it's in star idle. So this is how I control it, just by using spacebar. Okay, really nice. Okay, so I'll just continue, and maybe I'll split this video into 2 parts or 3 parts, whatever. So for now, okay, so we have the star appear, but we want to do it a bit more randomly. And we won't do the whole process yet. We're just going to do it that not in every press, but only in some press, it will actually start the animation. Okay, so let's do it. Or you know what, we can do other triggers. So how can we do it? So let's go here, and instead of doing this, I'll do something else. I'll do a public function, because later I'm going to call it from outside. Public void, and I'll call the function actually show star. Very original name. So I'll put the show star, and I'll just use this one, right? But if I'll call it now show star here, it will happen in every frame. That's okay, but it will happen immediately. So I want it not to happen so fast, so let's do something like this. You know what, I'll do Control Z, and I will I will call it from here. Okay, so I do use the key, but I want to, after I use the key, I don't want it immediately to happen, because we have to remember our final goal is that the stars will appear one by one. So we want them kind of choose in a random way when to appear. So how will we do it? We use if, and you know this way. I use it a lot, random.range, and I'll put value here, and I can put int or float. Let's put int. Okay, so I'll take between 1 and 100, and let's say that if this number is smaller than okay, let's do 12. Okay, so it's about 1 in every 10 times, a bit more. So only if it's between under 12, we want it to show it. And if not, let's put else. Let's just debug.log, try again. Okay, so I'm still using the spacebar, but I'm adding here a random, and I do expect that after something like five clicks in average on the spacebar, the star would show. Let's see that it works in Unity the way I expect. So I'm going back to Unity. Okay, and I press the play, and it's in star off, and it's stuck here, right? So I press spacebar once, and you see here the try again. It will also be, of course, in the console, and I'll do try again. So I have to be with focus on the game, so press here and press spacebar again, and this time it worked. Really nice. So we didn't do too much. Let's try again. Okay, so I press 1, happened immediately, of course. Okay, this random is not too random yet. Okay, so try again, try again, try again, try again, try again. Okay, this was pretty good. Okay, so I think, okay, I'll instead of like telling you about, let me show you. So we have here 1 star, but we can actually, as we know, we can duplicate them, right? So let's put, this is 10 stars, and let's just move them around, okay? And the nice thing is, because they all work with the same animation process and same kind of animator and the same script, whatever we'll do, even though we now have much more stars, whatever we do with the code will happen for all of them at once. Okay, very nice. So let's just press play. Okay, so now we have no star, and I'll go by starting to press the spacebar. So 1 got nothing, right? And I get no printing either. This is strange. So something did change here. Okay, let's have a look. Okay, something is totally stuck. So let me check what happened, and I'll get back to you. Okay, so I don't know why, for some reason, actually when we coordinate it seems to stop. I don't know what happened. Anyway, let's press the spacebar. Okay, and he tried all of them, of course, so 10 times. None of them appeared, but let's try again. And 1, another, another, another one, another. Okay, each time I press, there's a good chance for some of them to appear. And eventually, if I press enough times, okay, all of the star appears. Okay, very nice. So I think that's all of them, maybe one more. No, these are all of them. Actually, there should be another one. Okay, this one. So this one is very stubborn. He just don't want to appear. Oh, there he is. Okay, really nice. So this is we like okay. So we use the spacebar. Now we don't use the spacebar, but I did want to show you when we control it how we use this randomness and the use of the animation to make them appear one by one. Okay, so but we want to do it automatically. So what will we do? So I'll stop it, and to do that, I'll actually go back to animation. Okay, now the thing is, all of them, because all of them work with the same animation, I can change the animation just for one of them, and it will happen. So see that start off, by the way, it looks like progress, but it only had one keyframe. And okay, I'm just scanning here, and yeah, it only has one keyframe. But so let's do something. So we have here the keyframe, and let's move like here, and let's end another keyframe. Now nothing changed, right? Because everything still is the same scale. The alpha is the 0, so we can see the star. And this is okay. What we really want to do is when we finish the animation here, we want something to happen. Okay, we want something to happen to check whether we can show the star. So this is this button, okay, and it's add event, and I press it, and it add here the small thing. Okay, so if I press it, you can see here. This is the animation event, and it has a function. Now the functions are functions that are available from this object. And we actually do have a function that we can call, which can check whether we want to go to the animation, which is basically the show star. Remember, we created it here, and we created it public. Now we use public, okay, method star can be made private. So it thinks it can be made private because we don't call it from anywhere else yet. But now we can actually change it. So let's go back to Unity, okay, and let's find this function. So we have here the show star. Okay, and we select the show star, and this is the function that will be called every time when the star, okay, any star, on the star off animation, which is the end, which is actually 10 frames, I believe. So after 10 frames, which is quite fast, 10 frames is, if we are in 30 FPS, for example, it's like a third of a second. So let's see how it works. So now we actually we still have here the code that we can use the input with spacebar to like call it, but we actually don't need it anymore. So I'll just put it in comments for now. I did this by control backslash. Okay, it's called commenting out. It's put in this code in comments, so it wouldn't be executed. So now when it's ready, let's just have a look and see if we got the right effect. Okay, so if I press here, okay, and they appear by themselves, and it's quite nice, right? Now it's a bit fast, right? This is actually pretty nice. Okay, now we can change a few things. We can, if we want a bit of a different effect, we can go to the animation and maybe change here, make it shorter or larger. The other place we can change it is by going to the code and changing here the value of the random range. Let's say if we did it smaller than 50, for example, it will happen very fast for all of them. It will be like half of them will be immediately shown, and the next, and then the next. Just a sec. Okay, so as I said, we can it out, and we can change the value here or the length of the animation to make this process faster or slower. So this is how I reach the effect of showing the pairs. We can do something else. You know, we can like maybe collect all of them in lists, something that I haven't talked about yet, about data structures, and like selecting each time a different one to show up and to show until all of them are shown. But for now, this is a really nice effect, so I hope you enjoyed it. Again, the whole point was showing you that there are situations when we use code, there are situations we use some other things, and there are a lot of situations, especially when we create games, when we combine the two. Okay, we use code and we use some other functionality. And I like that way of thinking, and I like to talk about this because when you work in programming, and not all the programming work I do is actually on developing games. Most of the time I work on something else. And the things to remember that it's not like when you study even in the academy where you have a specific mission that is actually most of the time it's just like academic task that they let you learn something and they kind of use it. When you have to do something for a company, for a product, for a client, then you have to solve it any way you can, and you have to be able to work with different things. There are jobs that you have to be able to work with, for example, a PC or Mac, where you should maybe work with Linux, you more work with the terminal, using Git for version control, many different things, working with, I don't know, Excel files or maybe spreadsheets on Google Drive. And all of these requirements, they are different and they can change. And my message here is that we should be able to understand the problem, maybe find it, understand it, think of the solution, and develop it and implement it. Okay? And this is what we do as programmers. We solve problems through using code, which is kind of my slogan. Okay? So I solve problems through code. I always say I'll solve a problem with code. Okay? So it's either the problem that are in the code or problems that can be solved by using code. So I guess this is the message. And if you wondered why in most of my tutorial I call you talents, this is the reason. I do kind of expect you, okay, or believe in you for becoming a talent, because talent is someone that can solve issues, you know, that he doesn't need too much help. He doesn't rely on Google or even ChatGPT, just know how to solve things because he studied enough, he's smart enough, he is hardworking enough to be able to do it. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you very much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next tutorial. Bye guys and girls.